Here we go. All right, Michael, good speaking. We've had lots of conversation the last few weeks. So who are you?
The last year and a half, I would say, but yes, good to see you, Torsten.
Yes. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
I'm Michael Watchulonis, filmmaker, director, editor, producer of factual content for 20 years.
Yeah. So let's maybe talk about our relationship because it's probably unusual how we start working. I think 12 years ago, something like that, right?
About that, yeah.
And then how it evolved and like yeah, it's kind of interesting because we have different roles and different projects, which I think yeah, I love about our collaboration.
Yeah, so I started making, I've always been into the latest technology. I've always tried to be in the latest technology. And back in the early 3D TV days, I got together with my brother. He built a 3D rig by hand in his machine shop. And I started making 3D films. And as I started getting close to finishing my first film, I saw Torsten on LinkedIn and saying basically, hey, if anybody out there has 3D content, I'm a distributor for 3D. Reach out to me. So I did. I reached out to Torsten, and that's where our relationship started.
Yeah,
And he's told all of my 3D films. He's repped pretty much all of my films since then.
yeah, so I think in fact yeah, I remember. I mean, I think the bestseller was Fire Ants. Maybe that was a third 3D documentary, and yeah, we did a good job placing it all over the world, and it was a good day, a good time
You
for
are
me as well.
frozen, Torsten.
Oh, damn it.
You're still frozen, and maybe let me shut down one of the big file uploads I have going. You're still frozen.
You're frozen on my end. I think this is better now. Yeah.
Okay, you're back.
I think so. It says your bandwidth is low. You are my.
Let me pause something. I have a couple of uploads going on. Stand by. Hey, just give me something right now. Getting anything?
All right. So we were just saying that you know, I started out being your sales agent and you are the producer, director and writer of your documentaries. And then we started our own collaborations together where I got involved in more of the creative part. And that was a technology I was excited about. So yeah, that was kind of interesting.
All right, now you're back.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I started as your sales agent, and then we started our own collaborations together with Bitcoin: The End of Money.
Yeah, I remember you saying you wanted to get into filmmaking, not get beyond being an agent, sales agent. And yeah, we started with Bitcoin: The End of Money, and that was quite an interesting film. I learned I was exceedingly skeptical. I think what made that film so successful, at least creatively and storytelling wise, is I was exceedingly skeptical, and that came from the very first shoot we did together in Miami at a Bitcoin convention, and this was like really early days of Bitcoin.
January
And I
2014.
remember, yeah, all the people there in this convention. It was like a handful of like super smart people and a lot of scammy guys there. They're real. I mean, like you could just see it, you could smell it, you could feel it going through there. And I was like, how can this thing be legit and actually be a thing that works and it's good for anybody with so many scammy and sketchy people here? And so you and I had a little bit of attention in the storytelling of the film, and you would be telling the story one way, and I was like, wait, hold on, Torsten, no, hold on, don't forget this. What about this? What about that?
Don't be
And
a
so I think,
fanboy. Don't be a
yeah, don't be
fanboy.
I was like, yeah, don't be a fanboy. And then you were like, just keep an open mind. So that tension between us, and I had to be, we did not have a lot of B-roll, and so we had to go out and find whatever we could find, beg, borrow, and steal, and I had to use that creatively to tell the story, and it ended up, I think, a really good film. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, and I think during the course of that, you became more skeptical into the behind. Sorry, you became more skeptical about the US dollar system and like how screwed up that is. And maybe in many years later, I think now you would consider yourself a Bitcoin as well, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot about the U.S. dollar system and just how money works, fiat money works. And I mean, I don't think it's it's its own pyramid scheme or it's all bullshit or something. But it's if you don't understand how money works, fiat money works, and government works and uses money, you should educate yourself.
Yeah.
It just yeah.
Anyway, let's just jump forward like 5 years. I mean, obviously, Cryptopia was the film in the middle, but let's not get into that. That was a fun shoot. Remember when we went into the Bitcoin bunker in Switzerland? I mean, we had some good shoots in our time.
Yes, that was the best part of that film was going into that bunker and meeting.
Mm.
I remember we got a call to go to uh, we flew into Zurich and then we went to Lake Geneva and then we were told to like go to this Airbnb like somewhere. I'm not going to say where it is, but we went to this Airbnb and they wouldn't tell us where to meet them until the morning. And then we got up early in the morning and I put on Christmas music. I remember I was like, "Hey guys, you want to listen to some Christmas music?" It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. We're getting all of our stuff ready, and then you got a text, I think, from these guys to go to this place, and we got in our vans. We drove there, and we couldn't find it. It was like we thought it was like a parking lot. Is this a warehouse? What the heck is this? To make a long story short, we got pulled into this like super secret. I'm not gonna say what it is. Conference room, a very fancy kitchen, tons of food, like 8 guys around the table looking at you and me and saying like, why actually, we know you came all the way here. We said you can come in, but why should we actually let you in? And so we did like a 20-minute discussion of why they should let us in. And they did. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool shoot. And you actually you made that scene come alive in the edit as well. Great storytelling. But anyway, we're jumping ahead. So many years later, Fortitude. I got interested in space industry. Actually filmed most of it, 90 to 80% of it, until we actually had the need for an editor. So my process is, I discussed that in a different video. But basically, we decided, Chris and I decided we need someone who can handle the complexity of all 90 different interviews. It's again very technical, lots of different characters, and so it was kind of an obvious choice to again work with you. And you came in late, but it turned out still a very long project for you. So what's your recollection on like how did we pitch it to you? I don't even remember.
Yeah, you think you pitched it to me as we need an editor, we need a storyteller. You're comfortable with me. Chris didn't know me. And so I think I edited one sequence for you. And we had so much footage. I mean, we still do. I don't know how many terabytes it is. It's an insane amount of footage. But yeah, I remember editing a sequence and then we planned out, you guys liked it. We were happy with it. And then we planned out the next year of editing. And I was comfortable with it. The script was good. I liked the structure of the script. You and I played around with it, the structure and some of the VOs and stuff. But I was comfortable with it because, like I said, I've been doing this for about 20 years and I've done everything, from sharks to Bitcoin to biographies to video games, other technology. So I was very comfortable with it, and you did a good job explaining it in the script. So, but we had so many interviews. It was crazy, but
Brutal,
it
maybe.
came together.
Yeah, no, totally, totally. So, what would you, I mean, you just mentioned you have so much experience in like so many different nonfiction genres, so wildlife and other documentaries with it. What is the difference for you as an editor of like a film like Cryptopia or Fortitude versus maybe a more traditional broadcast or a film that you would maybe do? Is there like a specific way of storytelling that's different or?
Yes. So I always ask myself, um, like, aside from what's the story, why should I, if I'm watching this as a viewer, why should I care? Right? Is it because if I'm making a film about a natural history film, about sharks or whatever it is, then you have to tell the story in a way that I know where this is going to go. Like I want the BBC to buy this, or I'm doing it for the BBC or Discover or somebody, right? I need to know, I need to understand the audience and tell this story in a way that they're going to care and they're actually going to watch this. And so in this instance, since this is our, I don't know, like fourth collaboration, I wanted to tell the story in a way that the technology is, and the ground that we cover is vast, and it's some really cool stuff, and it's stuff that's going to change people's lives. Um, but I wanted to also make sure that I brought your personality into the film and um, told the story, helped tell the story through your eyes using my editing techniques. And so you're not just, I mean, people like to say there's a character. There has to be a character. Has to be a character, right? That word is overused. But you are a character in that you are there in all these locations telling the story in your voice. And I want to make sure that I helped you tell the story in your voice.
And I think in Cryptopia, it was more about, or Thorsten is on the run. He's in the airport, in the taxi, shaking people's
Right.
hands, which is one way to do it. But I think in Fortitude, it's a bit more sophisticated. You used, I don't know, like, do you have a specific example in mind?
Yeah, so Cryptopia was Torsten's on the run. He's bringing you the story, and we're following Torsten to go find the story as he's telling it. I think the difference in this film is um, Torsten is the only guy who's looked at all of this technology, and he is he is showing us how we got from the early days of the space age to, like a Sputnik, to where we are now. And um, I would say you're the only guy who knows all of this technology, this vast array of businesses, things that are being developed. And how do I explain it? So it's not Torsten's on the run. We're following Torsten on an adventure. It's Torsten's the guy who knows all of this stuff, and he's going to explain the stuff that you don't know, I need to know to understand where we're going with this technology. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
and we have special access to this mission control center, and look where we are now, kind of thing. But it's less let's board a flight to go to Washington. It's more like, oh, look, I also got into the State Department. So it's slightly different, but also
Yeah,
I think
special
this time,
access.
yeah,
Yes.
I think this time you used more like this behind the scenes kind of like shot where we set up a camera and things like that. So it gives the audience an impression of, yeah, how we made this film and the logistics a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was influenced. I'd say certainly by social media, like quick cuts, behind the scenes, a little bit of guerrilla filmmaking. But it's I try to approach it in a way that the way it's edited, it is cinematic. It is a visual spectacle, but then it's fun, right? It's because it's space technology. You could make that could be exceedingly dry, like because not everybody in the film we interview it's like amazing and funny and humorous and they have great stories.
Yeah.
They have great stories to tell, but it's our job to keep the viewer interested as we're informing them.
Yeah. And what is your favorite scene of the film in terms of what story captivated you most, or what was the most fun to edit? Or
The my favorite sequence by far is the Faces of New Space, and so I have daughters in STEM, and this actually makes me a little bit emotional. When I got to meet the four women we profiled, I didn't know their story until we got to that sequence. And we had gone from like the first and second sequence to like the seventh, and we jumped back to Faces of New Space. So I was getting an overall picture of how unbelievably complex this space technology stuff is. And then we're meeting these three young women who are just unbelievably brilliant. Like, and they're from, they're minorities. They're from other countries, what, Mexico, Egypt. One's American, two of them are American, but they're all minorities. And you know, normally when you think about the space age, space technology, these women would have no business, no right. Society would just not give them a chance. They have no right and no business going to space. But then we look at their stories, right, which is unbelievably unfair. But when you look at their individual stories and you meet them and you see their personalities, they're funny, they're interesting, and they're just downright brilliant. I mean, like electrical engineers. Sarah's like designing race cars. She did something with surgery. She's got like four
robotics
different
and
degrees.
stem
Yeah, stem cells. I
cells.
mean, it's so yeah, they were just unbelievably brilliant. And then so I wanted to honor their stories and bring um, their brilliance and their story and their personality to life. So you could see, oh, wow, yeah, we need this woman to go to space. We need her in science. We need more women like her. We need to give more people like her a chance because that's good for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, and like, I'm sure it was a conscious decision, but watching this scene or that whole first act, usually I'm front and center of telling the story. I have like a little stand up where I explain something. I cut into interviewees. I like, make a funny joke. But actually, in this chapter, and we start a little bit with Dylan, another white rich guy, right? But then once we get to do that sequence, I'm almost
You're
invisible.
not, yeah, you're not the star of the show. You are not the star of the show. And
Definitely
I
not.
made that up purposely to
Yeah,
make that, no, these women in each of their sequences, in this larger sequence, they are the star of the show and they are the story.
yeah,
Absolutely purposeful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was, and I've said this before. If you don't think that a film about space technology can make you emotional or tear up, you are wrong. You've got to see this film.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good one. Good one. Yeah, I like that. And I mean, on the one hand, it was unfortunate because we filmed all these interviews in one location, so they look visually very similar. But on the other hand, we have this great footage of them floating in space. So you had the good and the bad to work with. But yeah, this is a fantastic sequence.
Yeah, we had them all there at Dylan's party. I mean, it's just, it was bizarre but wonderful. It's like they're all there for Dylan's birthday party, and we've got David Blaine, the magician, there doing party tricks for these guys on the floor, and then you're taking them up into this room that you guys lit nicely for the interviews. It's that's a really good sequence too.
Yeah, and maybe one comment for the audience here. We'll do a separate little interview with Christoph. He was the DOP, so the camera guy on set, and this is a good example of how he made this one room look relatively different within a short period of time. He also had like two cameras he's operating. He also operates a drone, and he operates the audio, and he has a little GoPro camera. Remember that one or two shots where
Yes, yeah, that was
behind the
very
scenes.
helpful.
So it's like one guy who really makes a difference then to not make it look boring. But I will have to cut it off here. Thank you for kind of enlightening us. I hope some super fans or some aspiring filmmakers really get a lot out of this. And this is good bonus content for Fortitude fans.
Absolutely. All right, support the film, guys. Take care, Torsten.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.